So I feel like a few weeks, maybe it was a month ago by now, we talked about how Netflix just basically paid a buttload of money to acquire the film rights to Knives Out, which at the time we were just like, that's super, super expensive, but that kind of makes sense to us because Knives Out was a very popular film and they want to get it before it becomes a full-fledged franchise. Well, now Peacock is doing the exact same thing with the always culturally relevant Exorcist franchise. This ain't it, Chief. Like, don't get me wrong. I understand and respect Exorcist places in horror history. But what? Because Peacock is developing a new trilogy. It's a little complicated, but Universal and Peacock are developing a new Exorcist trilogy, and they paid $400 million for the rights. I'm going, do people still care about The Exorcist in terms of wanting to see more? Now, granted, new movies will be coming from Halloween 2018 director David Gordon Green. However, he's only doing the first one of this new trilogy. The first one will go to theaters, and then the other two movies will be going to Peacock in the weirdest distribution plan I've ever heard. This is not complicated.
Sounds like straight to DVD. Ugh.
What are DVDs, Josh?
But okay, you can talk all the crap you want, but you know what I'm saying.
Features now,
I just,
old man.
I want to look at Universal and Peacock and be like, "You're not that guy, bud. You're not that guy." Like, I gotta quote TikTok at least once every episode to be culturally relevant. But yeah, no, like Exorcist of all things, like why? Like that's not. I don't get it. I just don't get it. What more stories can you tell from that universe that haven't been already told by The Conjuring or Insidious, or name all these, the haunting of what is it, Omniville,
Amityville Horror?
Yeah, I know my movies. Obviously, that's why I'm on this podcast.
Oh lordy.
But seriously though, like, what stories are you planning to tell that haven't been told by all of the movies that have come out since? Like, that does, to me, unless you're going to retell The Exorcist, which is anybody asking for that? Like,
yeah, that's the thing.
I don't understand. I don't get it.
I worry that what will happen with this is the exact same thing that'll happen with Doctor Sleep. I think David Gordon Green will make a fantastic movie that no one will care about enough to see in theaters. Like, Doctor Sleep was one of the best movies of the year that it came out. I think that was 2019. Doctor Sleep basically pulled off the impossible task of bridging the gap between the Shining movie and the Shining book and met them both halfway and ended up being a phenomenal movie. I think David Gordon Green has a talent to make this a really good movie. I love Halloween 2018. It's not my favorite of the Halloween sequels, so that's just because the franchise is so close to my heart. I have faith in him. I do worry that he's only doing the first one. He's pulling a James Wan, basically, of I'll start a franchise and then I'll leave as soon as it starts getting bad. Also, Aquaman fans, don't freak out yet, but he said he might leave the franchise after Aquaman 2 just to go off to do something different. I'm going, stop doing that, James! You're turning into Guillermo del Toro. This is such a weird strategy. Now, to be fair, they've already started pre-production on this new Exorcist in terms of they've cast Leslie Odom Jr. as the main character. They brought back the mother from the original Exorcist as the person that gets called in, more or less, like Lin Shaye's character in Insidious, basically like, hey, you're from a famous exorcism. Help us get this out of my child. To which I'm just going, so, what's Linda Blair doing these days? Are you saving her for the sequels? Also, and here's where I'm going to lose all my horror audience. I don't care about The Exorcist. I don't either. I've never understood it. Some people just be like, you're too young to appreciate it. I'm just going, I have the same issue with The Shining. I think it's boring. Like, I understand it's not really truly about the horror. It's about a man grappling with his faith, and basically through the events in this movie, he gets it back. But I'm just going, yeah, 1408 did the exact same thing, and I like that a lot better. But I know as a horror fan, it makes me sound like heretical, basically, of just, how do you not like The Exorcist? I just think it's really, really overly long and dull. So this doesn't get me overly excited. It's like how I know we're getting a new Texas Chainsaw. I'm not excited for that either because it's not a franchise I care about. Also, David Gordon Green, I'm getting a little bit worried about him in terms of, don't overexert yourself in terms of stretching yourself too thin, because let's not forget he's still attached to that Hellraiser series for, I believe it's HBO Max. Hellraiser, of course, being Josh's favorite franchise of all time in all the horror genre, but he's still attached to that. Josh just giving me the dead face there. I purposely said that one, but
don't ask me my opinion on Hellraiser. Don't do that. Don't do that.
But David Gordon Green is still doing the Hellraiser series. He's doing this. I don't. He still has to do Halloween Ends, for crying out loud. I don't burn yourself out, David Gordon Green. I don't consider myself very excited for this project. I don't understand it, but I understand Peacock's need to acquire more resources and content. I think they definitely made a smart move when they acquired the WWE Network for $1 billion, and then they've promptly ruined everything good about the WWE Network. Oh yeah, I was watching Money in the Bank when your entire servers crashed, guys. Thanks for that. They've still got a lot of bugs to fix with their streaming quality, but streaming services right now are in acquire mode. So from a sense, I can make sense of this. From one side, I can make sense of this, but from another, The Exorcist? Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Let's leave it there, man. Let it die in horror movie history like it deserves. And maybe it's because I don't let something be called a classic, and so then I automatically give it respect. You know what I mean? Because, Scarface is considered a classic, but I really hate that movie.
So you and John Mulaney both.
I still, dude. But, I just don't understand, the love of this movie. Also, that the rights to it are worth $400 million. Shut up. Get out of my face. Get out of my face.